tongue in cheek when I want to.
All right. Welcome everyone to our meeting of February 1st, 22. The regular select meeting is starting at 3:31. And we always start out our meeting with a pledge of allegiance. So if you don't mind standing, let's start. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Do we have, did you guys get to read the minutes over from the last meeting? Any questions? None from you, Frank?
No, I think we're fine.
I did not have any questions either, so I will take a motion to approve those.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes. It was a nice meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And these are also the minutes from from the meeting and the budget hearing together. All right, the first agenda item is the use of ARPA funds, and there's just this sort of starting our discussion. So Emily, did you want to start with a few ideas that you had?
Well, I think, should I come closer? Or?
You know,
Recording in progress.
sorry, I forgot to start the recording. Yeah.
So we had, I think I brought this up earlier in the year when we learned the first disbursement of the total, I think it's around $90,000?
94,000 or something, yeah.
That the town is going to be receiving in 2 different installments.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not exactly sure how towns, or specifically how Jackson, decided to disperse the funds, but that we do have a number of action items in our hazard mitigation plan
Mm-hmm.
that could be funded. I think one of the most immediate things is looking at the generator at the fire department, especially in light of the progress that's being made towards a new firehouse. We've gone back and forth on it, but we certainly had an incident this weekend that really brought to light the need for that. So.
Yeah, and whether or not there's a new station or an old station that can be repurposed or whatever, so it's a viable need right now.
Exactly. Yep. So I guess I sort of put forward to the select board is how you're going to decide about those things. I think you were asking for some different ideas, and so
Yep.
submitting those ideas. And I don't know if Chief wanted to
What's
talk
that?
to anything.
The generator, did you get any quotes yet?
What's that?
Generator quotes?
Yes, I'm waiting for, I had one from last year, which was $35,000 for the entire building.
Mm-hmm.
Which covers you for an EOC, fire station, everything. So there's a price increase from that, from this messed up market and unknown everything around that's going on. So and then what we should do is there's some money probably to put it in the best spot possible. We'd need to tear down the old salt shed and get it positioned where it might need to go for a permanent spot one way or the other, or pretty close to a permanent spot. So there's going to be some money there. So I'm just looking, I had 50 grand figured for a generator, which could encompass a couple different things there, unknown costs. The cost a year ago was $35,000. So for the actual generator install. So I know it's gonna be more than that because the market has affected numbers. I'm just waiting back from them on that number. But I had a budget line item for 50 for whether we do repairs, whether we do renovation, or even, that was the budget number. I think that was the budget number in the new station too.
Okay.
Or pretty close.
And this would just be for the fire station. It can't serve any other buildings around it or anything. It will be just dedicated to that, for that purpose.
I think so, yes.
Okay.
But it's the entire building,
Right.
not just pieces of it.
Did we have a generator for the library as a
Well,
need
so
as well?
that's another item, and there's a number of different ways, well, I shouldn't say there's a number of different ways, but there is some other funding opportunities that are available, EMPG, the Emergency Management Performance Grant. That whole system has been really slowed down, it seems like. Certainly as we're waiting for the final allocation for our emergency operations planning process. And so I reached out to our field liaison with the state and trying to determine, to expedite something like the generator for the firehouse. It seems like the ARPA funding might be the best way to go. But we also have, there is the generator at the library that's also been under discussion. And then certainly other opportunities, looking at some of these different action items is the, a cistern up at the Tyrell development for the fire department, fire suppression, the new repeater on top of Tyrell, and then looking at how that ties into radio communications. And I don't have any details on that, but again, there are some other angles for things that aren't as pressing, but this has kind of risen to the forefront that,
with the frozen pipes and
not being able to
open the doors
open and get the fire trucks out.
Yeah.
So anyways, there's some ideas. I don't know if people have submitted other ideas, if you've even put out a notice to the town about that. I'm not sure how municipalities are doing it.
Yeah, we're sort of, we haven't posted anything. So I think once the budgets are done and we're past that hurdle, then it would be a good time to put the word out that says what ideas do you have and what thoughts, what needs do we have in town. But I think the generator is, it's kind of been a need for a while, so that makes sense. The Tyrell communications is something that we've always got on our budget, and that's an important thing for communication all around the valley. So I think those are two very viable costs, but putting the word out there to see if there's anything else.
Yeah, I'm not sure if towns just they know what they need and they just go with that.
Yeah, I know in Bartlett they were talking about a few things, and then with the Tyrell, Vicki had mentioned a few things for emergency management, et cetera. But I think one of the things with the Tyrell radios was sharing that cost.
Well, and that's the other thing.
Of course.
That would definitely be something.
Yeah. Jay?
So probably what you're gonna see next year on the capital plan is you're gonna probably see a big line item for the future for Tyrell. Not sure whether that's 5 years, 10 years, or 25 years. But you're gonna come in, whether it's next year or not, you're gonna see some capital plans for the future for the mountain up there, whether that's 150 or 350,000 divided by 2 or 3 towns, whether Hart's location ends up in that or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that you're gonna probably see that get added in at least onto the plan next year. So that maybe whether we think about saving money for that down the road in a fund, or whether we're just gonna worry about it when it comes, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we always have something on there for battery replacements and things like that, right?
Yeah,
But
those are pretty minor.
it's usually a
Battery
line item.
replacement, even if you had to buy a new radio, that's minor, really is.
Yeah. So this is
It's
more
just the
larger.
big plan of, is that gonna suffice, us in the future? And really, it works 98% fine for Jackson. Bartlett definitely has some issues covering their square footage.
Mm-hmm.
So how we fall into that is a whole nother subject.
Yeah. Okay, well,
So,
you know,
I think it's kind of nailing down the actual cost.
yeah,
Or the budget for that would be,
and the availability, because I know generators, not just the cost of them going up, but the availability of them is gonna be tight too, so, just
that's why, yeah, kind of getting the ball going,
chase it, yeah,
because everything's gonna be
yeah.
pushed down the road.
So let's put that on for the next budget meeting on the 22nd, and then we can send an
Is
e-news
another
out.
budget meeting?
I'm sorry, the Selectmen's meeting on the 22nd, sorry, and, we'll put an e-news out about the ARPA funds to see if anyone has any other ideas, or maybe talk to neighboring towns and see what feedback they've gotten too.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if e-news is the right place, but we'll put some word out
Okay, good.
to the management, etc.
All right.
So Julie, can you make a to-do on that one to get some communication out to the town representatives of the different departments, whether or not they have other ideas for ARPA funds?
Yes,
And,
will do.
okay, and then we'll get that on the agenda for the 22nd. Did you have any other thoughts on needs, John?
No.
Frank?
No, I think it's all been said. I think it's great that we're getting ahead of this a little bit.
Good.
Going for it.
All right. The next item then is the New Hampshire Department of Transportation Route 16B culvert replacement. And we received a letter that, I guess we just have to approve that they're notifying us of it, that they're developing a project. And there's no, Julie, we just have to approve the, approve this or just notice it?
It's just an FYI.
Yeah. And did you want to look at any of
I
that?
think this is just
Okay.
a notification.
Okay, no dollars, it's just a notification, and then it's starting, so it's gonna be happening sooner rather than later, right?
June 22nd.
Yeah, so, thank you. All right, so that culvert is on 16B up off of Black Mountain Road, between like Sarah Hill Road, Wilson Road, and Black Mountain Road, that whole area. All right.
June
June
22nd.
22nd, take the other way. All right, we have received information from the Conway Area Lions Club about some benches that they have created out of plastic film recycling. And Tom Merrill is on the phone to talk about this because there is an opportunity to have a bench donated to the town of Jackson. So Tom, would you like to speak to this?
Thank you, Barbara. I'm Tom Merrill. I'm the secretary of the Conway Area Lions Club. And we've done this bench donation to the town of Conway and also the town of Bartlett. Basically, we collect over 500 pounds of recyclable plastic. And the company Trex, who I'm sure you've all heard of, they make this bench as part of a incentive program for people to recycle plastic. So and the reason I'm here today is to offer this opportunity to the town of Jackson. If they would like to have a bench like this, we certainly can do that for you. Typically, they can be placed anywhere the town decides they'd like to place it.
Mm-hmm.
Recycled plastic, it's weather resistant, and we can put a little plaque on it too as well. That's donated by the Conway Area Lions Club.
Okay. I think that sounds like something that would be fun at the Jackson Falls, because we have that older bench that's there, and it's floated away before. So, but we will definitely kick this around, and also we notified the Conservation Commission too, because they may have somewhere that they prefer to have a bench. We do have benches along our river walks already and stuff, so we really do appreciate the offer. And do you guys have questions, John?
No,
Frank?
sounds awesome.
Maybe the bench would be nice in front of the new community garden.
Yes, that would be very neat.
Just
Yeah,
roll it out.
we're having a new community garden that we're starting back.
There's a lot of benches.
Yep. So I
Yeah.
think that, we have great places to put it. So, and I did look at the pictures. That's an awesome thing to do and take care of plastic. So that sounds great. How would you like to get back, like us to get back to you as far as timing and placement, et cetera?
I know an email when you folks are ready, you decide what color you want, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
It's really, at that point, we order the bench. It usually takes about 6 to 8 weeks to get the bench, once it's ordered. And then, we'll contact, whoever in the town of Jackson, and we'll, have it, you guys can place it wherever you'd like to place it. I just live very close by, so.
Okay. Sounds great. We will be back in touch then when we get some ideas for it, and we really appreciate you doing that and saving the plastic from ending up somewhere else. So.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Like the ocean.
Yeah, exactly, like the ocean, exactly. All right, thanks, Tom. I appreciate it.
All right. I will sign out at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's awesome. The bench is really cool. There's a, well, when Bartlett got theirs donated, there was a picture of them, the select board around the bench, and it is kind of cool. I'm thinking purple. What do you think for color? So, all right. So the next agenda item is the Valley Crossroad Bridge, and this is just updating the loan documents. So we're making a motion to close out the current loan for the Valley Crossroad Bridge, which was not used, and update the loan documents for the same purpose, and it'll just be a new loan. So I will take a motion to update the loan documents.
Are there any change in the terms of the loan, or?
It's to cover the gap from when we have to pay invoices, but do not yet have to have the reimbursement money, so it's 80% from the state. But Julie, I don't think we have any change in terms or loan amount, correct?
Well, the loan amount has gone up, but it doesn't affect us in any way because we have everything in the capital reserve. So the loan, the amount that is increased has no change to the town.
Okay. So words only.
And chances are we might not even need to use it at all, depending on when the invoices are in.
Good. I hope we don't, but it is there, so that's good. Any questions, Frank?
No?
I will take a motion then.
I'll make a motion to approve the updated loan for the Valley Crossroad Bridge.
And all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Right.
Thank you. All right, the next is our annual investment policy update, and Julie, there are no changes to this. It's just a housekeeping item that we have to make a motion on, correct?
That is correct, no changes.
Okay, thank you. So do you want to read this, or are you up to speed on our investment policy? You're all good?
Yeah, I'm good on that.
Frank, I don't know if you have a copy or do you have any questions?
I do have a copy, and I just don't know.
Okay.
It's boilerplate, I guess.
Yes. So I will take a motion to approve the investment policy annual update.
I will make that motion.
I will second.
And I'll second it.
You third. All in favor?
Aye.
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 There you go. All right. The next item
You guys
is...
make the motion to accept it. I'll just,
There you go. I'm going to mute you anyway. Okay, so the next is a letter to the Mountain Garden Club volunteers thanking them for taking such good care of our annual and perennial gardens that adorn the gazebo in the center of town, the heritage pathway in front of the town office, and they also provide festive balsam wreaths in the winter. Many thanks and much appreciation go to the Mountain Garden Club and the volunteers. They help make Jackson a beautiful community, and the town is very lucky to have them. And very lucky, because they're out there all the time just keeping everything in good shape. So we really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, we have a handwritten agenda item G, which is an invoice that we received from the Bartlett, town of Bartlett, about the transfer station fees. And they had brought this up before. Frank, you have a copy of the letter from the tipping, not the bulky materials, etc. So they want to invoice us.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. They want to invoice us for tipping and hauling fees for mattresses and other stuffed items like furniture and stuff from 2021. And I know we had talked about this like high level at one meeting, and we said, well, kind of nickeling and diming, and I don't know how they calculated this, I guess.
Well, they had a formula here, but I'm not exactly sure either in terms of, how much debris they use. Why did they cover our containers too if they were doing Bartlett containers? Why
Right.
didn't they do both if they were trying to eliminate keep them from getting wet?
Yeah,
So I would think it would be a wash myself. That's my question on
yeah.
that. I mean, it sounds from the letter that they only did it on the Bartlett dumpsters, but not on ours.
Right.
Which doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. So
Why
I
would they
think,
do it on both?
wouldn't we want to talk to them about this first before we approve it to pay?
Sorry.
We want to talk to them before we approve it for payment.
Yeah, well, I'll go up there and talk to Bob
Bob.
on his side, but I think, probably as a board, we probably need to talk to him.
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably time we do a transfer station joint meeting. So we'll set one up. I will make a note to get,
Probably have to be after the town meeting.
yeah, get meeting on books for transfer station. So I will make that as an action item to do.
I'll go up and talk to Bob.
Okay. So no motion, not approving today. All right. Moving on along to our short-term rentals, we have two pending,
Issues.
two pending issues. One is Denaro, where they were going to send in their, we filed a violation notice, and Julie spoke to them, and they're sending in their short-term rental paperwork, so they're sort of pending still. And then the second is with Ramsbottom, and they were conditionally approved on September 16th with Vacasa as their management company, and they were supposed to submit their advertising. They have changed since then that they're not going to be using Vacasa, but we haven't been hearing back from them, very unresponsive. So it's been 4 months now, so I think without any further commitment from them, we should either revoke or send a warning letter. I don't know that we really have any precedence on this issue at all, either way. So I'm more in favor of sending a warning letter, official, and since we've tried to contact them by phone, send a certified warning letter. And if they don't respond to a certified letter, then
Revoke it.
revoke it. Does that sound reasonable, Frank, too?
Sure does, yep.
Okay, so we'll send a warning letter certified if we don't hear from them within a reasonable time, which I think 2 weeks after receipt is fine. I don't know if we have to give them 30 days or not, but it's been long enough. And then, if no response, then revoke.
Yep.
I don't think we have to make a motion to send a letter, because it's just a letter, not a actual violation. All right, moving along. We have nothing on driveway or building permits. So we have hold on one second, just getting a little into, we do need to make a motion. Okay, so I will make a motion to file a warning letter to the Ramsbottoms for their unresponsiveness in relation to their advertisement for their short-term rental.
I'll make that motion.
No, you're gonna second mine.
Oh, you're second? You made it, I will second this time, sorry.
All in favor?
Oh, you're asking for a motion, my bad.
I'm changing it up tonight, just to confuse everyone. All right, thank you. So we have, the next meeting is February 22nd, which is a wonderful thing because we've had 3 in a row for 3 weeks, so we're looking for a little break. That will be
Just an FYI, I'll try to get here at 3:30, that's
That's
vacation
vacation
week.
week,
And
yep.
I wanna
Are you, either of you opposed to having it later, or is that not possible because it's just a tough week for you?
I can have it later, I mean, it's just 3:30 is tight for me to get here.
So is 4:30 better?
Yeah, that would work better.
Let me see if we can reschedule it to 4:30 for that week, because that would make it a lot easier and we may get better attendance. And then Julie, I'll talk to you about that. But if we can do it at 4:30 that week, that'll help you out some.
Thank you.
Of course. And then town meeting dates are Tuesday, March 8th is election day, and that's from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Whitney Community Center, and we need volunteers. As usual, we usually have a lot of people that sign up, but once the word gets out. So if you know anyone that wants to volunteer, please put the word out and have them contact Julie Hoyt and sign up. There are 3 shifts, 7:45 to 1:30, 1:15 to 7:15, and from 7 to approximately 10:30 for ballot counting. Volunteers must be 18 years or older and a resident of Jackson, and food and drinks will be provided, and that's always a fun thing. So, yes,
I'll
Bill?
coordinate with Julie about numbers, about what we need for quantities. It's a fairly easy,
Yeah, it's not like
nowhere near as confusing as the state and federal elections, so I'll talk to
Perfect.
her.
Okay.
We can know she got a pretty good idea.
And I think she contacted her usual
Yep.
ones already, so. Frank, did you have something?
I was just saying we posted to the library and the post office and everywhere else, and just to let people know that we need volunteers.
Yep, Julie sends out an email to her list of folks, and then we can probably put that on e-news as well. And then the town meeting is Thursday, March 10th at 7 p.m. and that will be at the Whitney Community Center. And we are talking, I need to work with Hank like we talked about as far as logistics for sound and quality. We would like to have a Zoom option so people can participate in the meeting, but making sure that sound is viable and can work out might be tough, as well as connectivity at the Whitney Center. So to be determined, but the meeting is that day at 7 p.m. I'm imagining that masking will probably be mandated, and we'll seat as people as far apart as possible unless they're together, but that's just an assumption on my part today. And then the meeting following that is Tuesday, March 22nd at 3:30. Any comments from anyone? Bill?
I'm going to try to make it real quick, but, and I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but as you may or may not know, probably heard, I had full intention of submitting a petitioned article for a straight article to not a bond. There's been confusion. It was a straight article. It requires 25 signatures of registered voters, has to be turned in by a certain time to get on the warrant. And it was to ask for, long story short, plans specified to get work done so that by next year we had a real good idea of numbers. I have elected, I will tell you this, I made enough phone calls that I had far more commitments than 25 people to sign that by far, but I decided to hold off. So I have a question for the selectmen. I would like to ask the selectmen if they would consider putting something on the warrant, whether it's $2 or up to $25,000 to, number one, either continue the committee that you have or renew or put a new committee out there, to spend some time this year on what John and Frank both commented on, looking at other needs for the town, departments, what have you, as well as continuing options on the fire station. And we all know something has to happen, so that we've got some seed money. We could do surveys, we could do do all kinds of things. 3 years ago, $25,000 seed money, there wasn't a negative question in the room. I really think it's needed. I'd like to ask the selectmen, are they willing to do something from $0 to $25,000 on this year's budget so we can continue the work we've done as well as the new work that two of the three of you pointed out we should look at.
Thoughts on that, John?
I'm not opposed to that at all. And certainly if it's, something that's supported by the town, obviously it's something I would support as well.
Frank?
I would, I support that.
And I don't have a number.
Okay. I'm obviously in favor of that as well, so, let's, we have to have it by,
You people have the
5
authority,
Tuesdays.
the selectmen create the budget, the warrant. If you put it in on the selectmen's authority to do that, you can determine the number. If you wanted me to make a suggestion, I'd put another $25,000 in. And that gives you, at least a start, so that this won't go dead. And I think it's important that we look at it. It's important that we talk to the town and be way more active than we have been as far as conversations and just go around to it and move on.
all right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
In the discussion, can I just?
Yeah, go ahead.
The discussion with this money and all of what Billy's talking about, which I think is a great idea, it will be more than just the fire station. Does it give us that broader picture?
Yeah, I think that's the way we
of what our
need,
needs are?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, I think that's the way we need to phrase it. So if it's a public works building, or if it's a fire station, or if it's a renovation or a new build, or whatever it encompasses. All right.
What do you say, Barbara? I couldn't hear him.
He said he just wants to make sure it would encompass anything, not just a fire station.
Any needs the town may have.
Right. And Julie is saying that today is the last day, so we have to announce and vote today with the dollar amount. So, that being said, Peter?
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Is what basically what you're talking about, is it a capital improvement plan for the town? Or?
I think that's the direction it will have to go based on John and Frank's opinions, as well as what we've come forth. But I don't think $25,000 will start to touch that, but it's.
I only ask because, the way it's worded and what's said matters, because I think if you say one thing, people are obviously going to expect something, but what we're really talking about is a capital improvement plan for the town, or the beginnings of that, I think we should really maybe say that, because, we're hearing numbers thrown out about a fire station, we hear a public service building, the school has needs.
Yeah.
If what's truly needed is a capital improvement plan, obviously we're at the 11th minute of the 11th hour to make a decision on this, but if that's what's needed, I think that's what really should be looked at.
Yeah, and from what I've been hearing from my other two cohorts here, that's what is suggested, to look at the whole town, to figure out what the general need is across the board. And we have our 10-year plan that has, come and gone, so it's probably time to redo that work as well. I don't know what is entailed in that, and how much it would cost, and who we would contact to do that. And so I'm not sure about a dollar amount to put in there. Any thoughts, Bill?
If it's a selectman-sponsored article, that's something on the warrant. And if you start with, and I apologize for midnight hour, but after last week, it was very frustrating. We've spent almost 3 years. I won't get into all the time. There is absolutely nothing to prevent an amendment on an article to increase or decrease the amount from the floor.
True.
So if you stick a number in there to satisfy the requirements so you can post a warrant, I would start with a $25,000 fee. And between now and March, if the selectmen elect to continue, the committee has stood or add to it or whatever, that gives us a little bit of time to make a recommendation prior to town meeting if little more money, maybe that's enough. I just throwing this out there.
It's a good
Yep.
idea, Bill.
Yeah. And I'm just getting some other input from someone that's not sitting in the room that we should not really call it a capital improvement plan or that, but calling it a fund to research the needs of the town, which leaves it very, very general and open. So, you know, I don't think it's
long as
about,
you're
it's
able
not
to-
about a fire station or it's not about an ambulance or a police station. It's to research the needs of the town as a whole.
As long as you're able to answer that question, because I think when you when you get vaguely worded articles in there, people are like, what is this? And
Yeah.
when you say capital improvements, people know pretty much exactly what you're talking about. But as long as we're moving forward and there's a consensus that the town needs to do some planning for its future in terms of its buildings and everything, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Frank, any other questions or thoughts?
No, I think it's a good idea. Let me just ask this though. We know that the school does have, some plans. Do you think that this would also encompass what they're doing? I know it's in, another department, but do you feel that that should be part of the discussion? 'Cause I think I do, in terms of what we need to do to move forward. That's my only, but I think it's great that we're putting this article on.
Yeah, I was talking to someone the other day and we were mentioning how the school and the town don't coordinate at all. And I'm not sure why, because I think it would be great to at least know the different intentions and their goals. And we could, if we all went to the meetings and read all the minutes, we would know the direction they're going. And Thursday is their budget meeting at 7:00 at the Whitney Center. So I think it would be smart for us to include the school, and because they're part of the town, and if they do something that, the Whitney Center is owned by the school, so we benefit from using that for different functions. Are there other ways that we can coordinate different buildings or functions together instead of having always separate discussions? Peter?
I can only point to the last time that there was decent coordination. I mean, we had a Vision 2020 thing like a million years ago.
Yeah.
Everybody said, that's never going to happen. Eventually it did happen, but more recently, it was kind of like a domino effect. So when the school was looking at its options, and I was on the school board at the time, it became clear that we needed to take down the old Tricky Barn. When the Tricky Barn came down and the Historical Society protected it, it became a library.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got a community center. Then the Historical Society was able to move into the old town hall. And then the old library. Things happened in a sequential. It didn't happen exactly like we planned it, but at least it happened. And part of the reason it happened was because there was coordination and communication between the municipal and town town offices, and people got on board because they saw what happened. That being said, almost all of that was didn't require taxpayer spending.
Mm-hmm.
We basically got a free community center, a free-ish library. I'm talking about construction, not upkeep and maintenance and running the things. So this is a slightly different process, but I think if you come up with a comprehensive vision of how this could play out in scenarios, that gives people a path forward for saying priorities. What's the priorities? Is it fire, school, municipal? Once you do one, things have a tendency to fall into place.
Mm-hmm. Bill?
Just on that comment, I can't say it exact yet, but I did 6 years on the school board too. We had a town-wide charrette weekend that Betsy Harding started, North Country Council, a bunch of different folks. We had a full weekend event held at Black Mountain Ski Area. And we did a lot of it, all facets of the town. There were people from all ages, and it was very good. It brought the whole community together to plan for the future. They had a meal. It was pretty. A lot of it came out. There's got to be over there the town charrette.
Yeah, it's on this end here, Peter.
I think it was maybe 2005, 2006. Again, I don't know that we can do that this year yet, but I agree.
I think the coordination would be.
My point was to Frank and John's comments last week about we need to look at everything. And I, for one, heard that, I can say I don't agree with it, or I do agree with it, but I just feel,
Yeah.
let's start fresh and attempt to at least take a look at whether it's informal or formal.
Right.
Get something going, so this
Yeah.
whole discussion, good, bad, or different, doesn't just fall by the wayside.
So I'm hearing that the school does have a warrant, and it's not to quote me here, but I'm hearing it's $250,000 for an architect to explore what the needs are for the school.
250,000 for an architect.
Yeah,
Meredith,
Darlene,
that's
that's 250,000,
Holy
not
crap, wow.
25,000. Just want to make sure the zeros are
I
right.
believe
Yes, that's the last question.
I believe they had 70,000 last year for the same percentage, so that's a lot of money. It's the way to go.
Julie, do you know that number at all?
That's the number that was quoted in the Sun, so it's got
It
to
is
be true.
250? Okay.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, yeah, 250,000. So, if we are going to create a warrant article and have to vote on it tonight, then, any other thoughts, Frank and John, on what you wanted to say, how much we want to put?
I'm in agreement with Bill. I think, wording it as a capital plan or a capital reserve plan or whatever you want to call it is fine. But, 25,000 seems like some seed money to keep it going anyways.
Yeah,
Like Bill said, we can change it if it has to be changed before.
Call it a feasibility study.
okay,
Do now,
Yeah.
not specific.
Okay.
Do we try to get a little bit specific and say it's for buildings or no? Because like Pete says, if
I
you
think,
don't,
yeah, I mean, I think, I like the word that was mentioned, of an exploration of the needs of the town as far as facilities.
Future facilities.
Yeah.
Facilities committee.
because like I agree with Pete, if you get too vague and
Yeah.
people at town meeting are gonna be all flustered.
Needs of town exploration using a facilities committee. All right, I'm spitballing here. So I will ask for a motion to have a warrant article for $25,000 to research the needs of the town through a facilities committee that explores the need for town buildings and facilities.
Upgrading town buildings and facilities.
Upgrading or replacing.
Same thing. Upgrading and or replacing.
And or replacing. Sound reasonable?
Yep.
All right. Motion?
I will make the motion to put in $25,000 seed money for our
Our facilities.
facilities committee.
You want to second that one, Frank?
Okay, I will second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Done.
Thank you. Julie, I'll work with you to make sure we get that written up.
Just a question as a follow-up for the school budget hearing on Thursday night. Is anybody going to communicate that message that this is going to be put forward? Because I think it's important for them to hear that as they're moving forward.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to go, but I mean, I'm happy to relay the message, but they should know what's happening too.
Yeah, I'll give Jen a call,
Okay.
to just let her, I was gonna go anyway as well,
Okay.
but I'll mention it to her and we'll make sure that we can coordinate moving forward. I think that's a great idea. All right, any other comments? I will take a motion to adjourn the select meeting and move into the budget hearing.
I will make a motion to adjourn the select meeting and move into the budget meeting.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. All right, thank you all for your input on that. That's very helpful.
Yes.
All right, so we have just a few changes to the operating budget before we jump into the other exciting warrants. The changes on the operating budget are that the building maintenance for the fire department went up from $6,500 to $30,000, and that is for some immediate needs for the fire station versus any kind of real infrastructure improvements.
What was the number again? Bill?
Up to $30,000 from $6,500.
Thank you.
And then the only other change on here, actually that was the only change in the dollars on there. I think there was a small change on the, we got the final numbers from the transfer station for their wages, so that went up about $4,500. And the total now is $52,000. All right. We have to make a motion and vote on the sale of the town property warrant article to Falconeries that we had in the meeting, in the last meeting. So there's the 2022 warrant articles that are on here. We didn't make a motion on it, so it's taking a vote on the sale of the town property warrant article to the Falconeries. So if you would, somebody would make a motion for that, and we can vote.
No, I think you're all set on that. You've already made a motion
Yeah, we
on
have
that.
voted.
Why do you have that? Okay,
It's just because it's not, I printed out a revised warrant article page, so it's now included on that sheet. I
okay,
didn't originally do it, I had to take the dollar amount out, but you don't have to re-vote on it.
Oh,
I mean, you don't
okay.
have to make a new motion. All you have to do is just, when it's time to vote on the article,
I
the three of you
see.
need to vote yea or nay on that.
Okay. And that's the first warrant article, correct?
Well, I would just go on your revised warrant article worksheet instead.
Okay.
The printout that you have is just for additional information. It's not what you want to use.
Oh, okay,
Just look at your warrant article worksheet.
gotcha.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. So going on to the page with the warrant articles, as we can see under the recurring capital reserve funds, the same amounts are allocated this year as what we've had in the past. So no increases or decreases on that. And there is the additional $80,000 on the fire department truck. So, Jay.
Back early in the budget meeting or work session, I brought up whether the selectmen had any interest in putting that back at 100,000 where it used to be, because it wasn't enough money to keep up with our trucks over the years. So I'm asking again if there's any consideration of putting that back where it was not that long ago, so we don't get ourselves in a bind like we did recently with not having put enough money, or if you want to leave it at 80.
When's the next truck due?
This year, next year?
Well, we got money for that one right now.
It's a ways out.
Oh.
Probably 30, whatever it is, I don't have it right in front of me, 2030 something, 35 maybe. It's a ways out, but you do have some forestry truck, something coming up with a forestry truck down the road. Pickup, some point, 15 years, so. So.
Question is, for the payment for the fire truck that is hopefully gonna be ordered this year, is that gonna be enough to add to what we have so that?
No, that's separate.
That's why I thought we were short on
The
that.
warrant article for the new fire truck depletes the capital reserve. So then this would go in to bring it back. Stop over.
What I'm asking is, the warrant article to deplete the capital reserve, is that enough money to pay for the truck?
I believe so, yes. What we're asking for. Yeah.
205,000 is coming out of the fund balance for that truck.
Right,
Okay.
Yep.
So you're good.
so we do have enough for now, yeah,
For this year, yes.
for this year.
So,
And my only comment on that is next year, we're gonna not have that 85,000 for the bridge repair, so we could certainly, if you wanted to bump it up now or wait till next year, you could bump it up when that 85,000 goes away.
Do you promise we won't have that?
Yeah, really, you promise?
I will not promise.
I'd like to see that 85,000 go.
Yeah, I would like to see the 85,000 go, and I also think that having additional funds available if we needed them before that time period would be beneficial, like our general fund balance. Just a thought. I guess I'd like to keep it at that for at least a year more, at 80,000.
I agree with that.
Thoughts, Frank?
I'll go along with what you just said.
All right, so Jay,
Yep, that's fine.
it is noted that you've said it and spoken,
You.
and so next year when the 85 goes away, you can shake your fingers.
Definitely.
All right, so any other questions on the recurring capital reserve funds? Gary, do you know what we have 142,000 in for highway truck. Do you know what's on the schedule for highway trucks as far as replacement?
The next one would be in a couple of years, and it's one of the smaller trucks, which would be around 130,000 to replace the truck that we're looking at next.
Okay. All right, any other questions on that section then? No? Okay. Do we vote on each section on here, or do we just review and?
I think we just review them.
Yes,
Yeah.
please vote on each section.
Oh, we do vote on each section? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I will take a motion to approve the 268,500 for the recurring capital reserve funds.
58.
You don't need to take a motion, it's just your vote, whether you're for it, against it, or abstaining.
Okay. John, how would you like to vote?
Well, I'll vote for it, yes.
And Frank?
Hey, vote, I'm for.
I am for it, so that is 3-4-0 opposed. All right, recurring expendable trust funds, same as last year at 103,500. The majority of it being the bridge repair of 85,000. So we've got some good balances. We did keep the town office equipment down at 500, and I think we're still good with that. The Maloon Road groundwater maintenance, that's still 2,000 is plenty for that, or it's not too much. I guess that's one of those. I'm channeling
When does that end?
B. Davis.
Never ends.
It
Never
never
ends.
ends. It never ends, Frank.
I
It's
mean,
some,
I was here when we closed it down, and that was 30 years ago.
yeah. What we
Wow,
did
okay.
have that question asked, and it is going to be something that's a recurring expense to protect the houses that are in the area of that Moulin Road area. So,
Oh, yeah. The
Any-
old burn pit.
yeah.
Yep.
Any questions on the funds here then?
Nope.
All right. I would like to hear a vote of whether or not you're in favor of the $103,500 for the recurring expendable trust funds. John?
Yep.
Frank?
I'll second, yeah, yes.
And I am a yes. So it's 3-0. 3-0. Jay?
Is the wording all situated for the fire truck warrant article for this year?
Yeah, I think that's towards the bottom, and then,
Confirmed, we're good to go, I didn't
yep,
see.
it's on that bottom where it says fire truck $695,000.
Which page?
So it's on the same page, but we're 2 sections away, so
Oh, sorry.
hang out for a minute. So we have recurring social services it went up $749, which is pretty much for starting point and for the Tri-County Cap fuel costs. So does anyone have questions about any of the social services dollars?
No.
Anything, Frank?
Just a comment that they all do they all do such a great job. We're lucky to have such a short dollar to do so much that they do for us.
I agree. All in favor for a vote on that, John
Yes.
and Frank?
Yeah.
And I'm a yes. So 3, none opposed. All right, so for the new warrant article, we have $695,000 for the fire truck. $490,000 is offset in the revenue from the capital reserve fund up top. And then the rest of it will come from, like Julie said, from the funds, available funds. Unreserved funds, thank you. And then we do have the Helfrich land swap, which is no dollars, and then we have acquisition of sale of land. So none of these have any dollar values except for the sale of the town property down below, which will be decided upon, and number will be dropped in there once the paperwork is finalized on that. Bill?
Just going back to the fire truck, I just thought about this, and you probably all have it. Is now that we're into 2022 and selectmen have made decisions on how to fund that difference of purchase, does that allow you to now potentially do a P&S so we can eliminate any potential increases again in cost that it's only a best guess, or Jay, is there a fixed number that?
Well, what, can you repeat the total number?
$695,000.
Yeah, that is guaranteed maximum price before April 1st.
Before April 1st.
Yeah, so after town meeting
I just
will
wanted to
be,
make
I'm
sure.
reading it, just give me a second. I'm looking at it right now. Hold, yeah, 4/1 of 22.
okay.
It should be less than that, should be. But he's telling me guaranteed maximum price, order by 4/1 of 2022. So we'll be signing the order 20 minutes after town meeting. Not to exceed 494, 482.
Okay, perfect. So you can invite him to town meeting. Have to bring the paperwork.
Not going to do this
Okay.
again.
So I don't know how much detail we have to go into these other points. They're on our worksheets here, and most of these have already been discussed in meetings for the sale of the town property, the fire truck, the acquisition or sale of land, buildings, or both. Oh, so Julie said that we do need to make motions. Thanks, Julie, for keeping us sound here.
Sorry, I was
That's
thinking
okay.
it was, since we've already talked about it, but I guess to be official, we should do the motion.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's all right.
The Supreme Court has spoken.
All right, so let's backtrack here. On the recurring capital reserve funds of $268,500, I will make a motion to approve the amount for the detailed dollars there.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next section is the recurring expendable trust funds of $103,500, and I will take a motion to approve that amount.
I'll make a motion to approve
I will
that.
make a motion that we approve that amount.
All right. Made
I will second.
and all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Recurring social services in the amount of $20,256. Motion, please. I'll make them. All right.
Social services for that amount.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. And then for the next section, which was the new, we have the one fire truck of $695,000. We have. We are going to allow the acquisition of sale or of land, buildings, or both, to allow the select board to acquire or sell land, buildings, or both, provided they first submit any proposed acquisition or sale to the planning board and to the Conservation Commission for review. This is on the warrant because right now we have to take it to town meeting, so this would change it and allow the selectmen to make that decision. And then the land swap we have talked about in several meetings, and that was agreed upon. The sale of the town property we talked about, and that just is without the dollar amount until the paperwork is finalized. Groundwater protection district regulations from the zoning ordinance to establish a groundwater protection overlay district, etc. And then the short-term rental modification is, excuse me, states that although a conditional use permit runs with the land, if the property transfers ownership, then within 60 days of the closing, the new owner will be required to provide the town with their contact information, a new affidavit agreeing to the conditions of the permit, and all applicable application fees, as well as any, and that includes their meals and rentals tax information.
Yeah, sounds right.
Okay, so we need to vote on each of these 6 warrants.
Oh, probably good.
All right. So the first one is the fire truck. So to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $695,000 for the purpose of purchasing a fire truck.
I will make a motion to purchase fire truck, $695,000.
I will second that.
I'll be glad to second it.
All right.
Oh, I'll third it.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. The next one is the Helfrich land swap, lot V10 212B. if I'm
I
reading
make a
that right.
motion to approve the health land swap at V10 212B.
And I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Acquisition of sale of land, RSA 41:14-A. I will make a motion to approve that to allow the select board to acquire or sell land, buildings, or both, etc.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And then the amendment to the groundwater protection district made by the Jackson zoning ordinance, section 4.
I'll make a motion to approve the groundwater protection district regulations.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Short-term rental modification. They're adding a paragraph that addresses the change of ownership to a conditional use permit. I will make a motion to approve that and recommend it highly.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. And the last is the sale of town property, which is, I'm not even going, lot V7/53 and lot V7/54 on Jackson Highlands Road.
I'll make a motion for the selling of town property on lot B7, 53, and 54.
And I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And then one last final vote that we put for the new warrant article that we are submitting to allocate $25,000 for the creation of a facilities committee to research the needs of the town, buildings, etc.
I will make that motion.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Julie, we good?
All set.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, I guess you don't have to vote on the petition ones, that I know.
Okay, we don't have to vote on the petitioned ones? Okay, so we do have a new petitioned
Correct.
warrant for $1,500 for Mount Washington Valley Supports Recovery, which will go towards the social services line. So that has been submitted and signatures approved. So the previous year included the fire station feasibility study, the roof for the town office, and walk-up window, and the highway truck capital reserve fund, which we don't have anything else this year so far. All right. Next page is the revenue page. Julie, do we make motions on any of this?
No.
We just read it over, right, and just kind of review?
Yep. This is beyond our control.
Only if people
Yeah.
have questions, otherwise it is what it is.
And I do just want to say that we are very fortunate for the amount of money that we collect every year through our property taxes that we hardly have any receivables. It's incredible to me. So in reviewing this, are there any questions? Frank?
I was just going to say just special thanks to Karen Burton, because I know she's been working with people during these difficult times, and the books are good.
Yep, agreed. All right, so.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes, Peter.
As you're going down the list, I mean, just apropos of nothing, aside from being grouchy, it would be amazing to think that how much rooms and meals tax we generate for the state as opposed to what we get back.
I agree.
That $62,000 is highway robbery in
Yeah.
the state of New Hampshire.
I wonder if there's ever going to be a way to reevaluate that based on the amount that are actually submitted. I mean, it's so accessible now.
All it takes is legislation.
Yeah,
But, you know, the poor small towns don't have a whole lot of pull, but I'm sure if you could get the Conways, Lincoln, Woodstocks, and the big towns that send a lot of money together, it would be
Yeah.
an interesting exercise.
yeah, I agree.
Who was just speaking? I'm not sure.
That was Peter Benson.
Peter, yeah. I mean, as you know, Peter, this has been in discussion for decades as to how much we give for rooms and meals and how much we don't get back. And it's really a battle between the southern part of the state and up here, and where those money should go. So it's a tough haul, but I agree with you that we should do everything we can to try and get more of those monies back to our area that just does generate so much rooms and meals tax in particular.
Any comments or questions on the revenue page? Alrighty. The next page is the recap of the tax rate comparisons and then the fund balances based on different scenarios. I just think it's interesting to look back at the tax rate without the water precinct to see that we're not that high. We're pretty reduced compared to a lot of other towns that are increasing quite a bit. And I look at our town assessed value and how much it's increased over the past, we know some of the rates are inflated because of COVID and other things. Thank you all, appreciate it. But it's pretty amazing, the increase.
Totally agree, Barbara. You guys done a great job.
And the municipal rate is down less than 3%,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Yep.
It's good to have a mathematician on board.
So do we make any motions on this for the tax rates? We don't, because this was done months ago, right? So this is just a recap of how much we've retained.
And this is more or less information about what we have for options in terms of spending, our unreserved fund balance.
Which is like the second to last page there, like if we retain X. And I believe the state recommends around 7 to 11%. And we've increased the amount that we've kept in our balance because of the uncertainty of the economy. So we've been a little bit more conservative. Oh, there it is, suggested range 11 to 12.5.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the fact that we're conservative and don't have worries. Any comments on the tax rate comparisons or the fund balances, etc.?
Now, the fire truck, you said that 226,000 is going to come out of this fund balance as well? Is that my correct understanding of that?
It's 205.
205.
Yep, and it's right over here on the right-hand side, less fund balance
Okay,
used.
all right.
Yep.
I was looking for 226.
Yeah. So that is,
So-
yeah, that's the truck.
So we're taking 205 out of there before we do any adjustments with the taxes.
Right.
Correct.
All right.
So in theory, we could have a 0% if we kept 11%,
Yep.
which would be in the suggested range.
Mm-hmm.
But on the low end.
You okay, Frank? Or are you looking?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm just whispering to myself and looking through all my paperwork there and trying to match up everything, but it looks fine. I think the mathematician speaks, I go with the mathematician every time.
You're on the spot.
Yeah, right.
All right, I'm satisfied with all of this.
Yeah, so we don't have to make any decisions today on what to set the rate at, because that's gonna come at the half-year point, right?
Right, I believe that's correct, right, Julie?
Yes, you wait till October.
Yep,
Right,
yep, got it.
so this is,
Awesome. And then the balance sheet is attached as well. I know we have such large balances in the general fund, but I know you manage that tightly. And we really can't earn anything on it because the interest rate is so low, so it's not worth it to put it anywhere else.
might be going up.
A little bit, yep, inch by inch. All right, any other questions or any public comments or questions? Hearing none, I will take a motion to adjourn the budget hearing number 2.
And I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you all for attending, I really appreciate it. Thank you, Darlene. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you. Good meeting.
Thanks.
Should have gone in. That should-
Thank you, Hank.
Thank you.